Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the EKN Debrief. It's been a busy week for David Cole and I, Rob Howden, here at the EKN offices. We, of course, had our dual weekend a couple weekends back. Both of David and I then moved to a different weekend. We've been on the road quite a bit for the last couple of weeks, but getting ready to kind of latch things in here now, get it all said and done. We wrapped up the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, or rather the Winter Nationals, the first round of the Pro Tour with our last Debrief podcast. This is number 43 in the history of Debrief. March the 15th. It's Friday afternoon, early afternoon right now. We are going to, in fact, I won't say we because it'll be David. He is going to essentially review his trip to the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona for rounds 3 and 4 of the 2019 Challenge of the Americas. That's the target for today's debrief, which is going to be presented by the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park, just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-RACE. That's 866-607-7223. All right, David, busy couple of weeks, of course, to start off the month of March. You and I were in Fontana, California for the opening round of the SCUSA Pro Tour, the Winter Nationals. I immediately went east to Florida for the opening round of the Road to Indy and the NTT IndyCar Series. You, of course, went home for what I would say like as a laundry/repack day. Back on the road again on Thursday, bound for Tucson for the Challenge of the Americas event, the second weekend, the third and fourth rounds. Musselman Honda Circuit, as we get started with just the overview, and I know you'll get into this part, this track is just absolutely stellar. Talk about the fact that the series is back to Tucson, but there's just something about Musselman Honda Circuit that just leads to such great racing.
Well, first off, it's more than just laundry. I actually get to see my wife and kids, so that way they know I'm still around.
That's true. That's true. You revisit the family. You know what? I don't have any kids, so that didn't come to my mind.
Yeah, you don't have a cat. You don't have a dog. You know, it's,
you have both.
Yeah.
You have a cat. You don't have a cat.
No, I don't have it, but it's like that. You know, I have 3 kids. I typically tell everybody I have 3 kids. But
you spend a couple days at home, and then back on the road.
Yeah. So it was a hectic couple of weeks, but it's part of the grind. It's part of what we do. It's part of the love and infatuation we have with the sport. But
sure.
The love goes into Tucson. I mean, we love going to that place.
I miss being there. Yeah.
Ever since we hooked up with Andy Saisman and the Challenge in the Americas, they started at Tucson. That was the first event. And that was, always typically in January. And that's when we started out the year. They did that for 6 years in a row. And then last year they took Tucson off the schedule. This year we came back, 7th time going to the facility, which, the circuit is a replica of the Suzuka track in Japan. And it just leads to just amazing racing.
Wow, I know it just does. There's so many places to overtake. It's such a fast racetrack, and there's just there's a couple of great combinations that lead into actual overtaking areas. Going through the S's into the back part. I think they call it turn 10 into the left-hander. Not a lot of passes there, but some great ones. I really miss being out there. I love that track. Love the program. So continue. Let's talk more about the overview.
Not to mention the food options that we get in Tucson.
Do that to me.
Just to kind of throw the dagger in there, we went to an Italian place on Saturday, which was phenomenal. Wow. And then you just drive in the middle of nowhere, and boom, up pops this Italian place. And then we tried out a new steak place Sunday night, which the Silver Saddle was not open at 9 p.m. So we had to go elsewhere, and it was amazing. Just it's funny how people can find these restaurants, you're a person who does this as well, but just in the middle of nowhere or just off the beaten road, it's just these small little places that just have amazing food.
Now, the one thing I love about what Andy Saisman does too, and he does it pretty much at the first 2 races, doesn't do it at Sonoma, but he'll bring in different food trucks as well to the track, for lunches. Mm-hmm. And man, there's just been some great food trucks over the years. We've eaten. Let's put it this way: I've eaten a lot of great food and called a lot of great races. So that's my perfect balance.
Exactly. And this one wasn't a slouch. On, I believe it was Saturday, they had the wood oven pizza, mobile wood oven pizza pull in, and so we had a wood oven pizza. So not to mention Mexican food and all these other different types of selections. So yeah, nobody leaves Andy's programs hungry. Let me tell you that.
No, that's for all right. Here's my question for you, and I want to ask you this. You've been to we've been to a ton of racetracks. I've never really written down how many tracks we've been to. Where do you rank Tucson? I've never raced it. I don't think you've raced there either, have you?
No, I've never driven on the racetrack. No.
But track itself that you've seen, where do you rank Tucson?
I kind of put the note down. Is it something that's in the top 5 in the country?
That's it.
It's just the way it races and provides great side by side racing. I mean, there's always passing opportunities every lap, and it just seems like, qualifying in a lot of the different categories were within hundredths of a second for like the top 5 or top 3, and so it has that good flow. And that's what it seems like. The drivers love that. They hate the stop and go type track mentalities. They like something that it's like a rhythm. You get into a rhythm and you can pound the laps out, boom, 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 all within 1 or 2 tenths of each other throughout 20 laps. So,
you know what I love about the track, David? And I think this is key. Is you see a lot of tracks where it's a 90-degree corner to the checkered flag, or it's a long stretch run to the checkered flag, whatever it may be. You know what I mean? It's not that one setup pass, right? The thing I love about Musselman is when you're coming down the long back straightaway and you go into the hard braking, and then into the left-hander, and then there's the right-hander as well. It's not just I dove to the inside, I took the pass away from you, or whatever it may be. It's one of those things where, if you pass me on the inside and you go too deep, I can crisscross you. I think the complexity of the final 2 corners of Musselman, that left, right, is what makes it so good in terms of overall race, because the run for the win is never done. Because you can go too far out of the last corner and drop a wheel into the dirt, and you can lose a race like that too.
And it's uphill. That's true. One thing that until you actually walk the track or drive it, it's uphill. It's a good probably 10-foot, not 10-foot elevation, but it just a gradual. Like it's, if you're racing a Yamaha, it's on the clutch,
Yep. All right, so let's talk weather. We always do that when we set things up. Of course, this is the overview. Rob Howden alongside David Cole, the EKN debrief of the 3rd and 4th rounds of the Challenge of the Americas from Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. David, you've had some crazy weather already. The events you've gone to, you've been hoping for sun. You've got rain. We had rain in Cal Speed as well for the SCUSA race. What was it like this particular weekend in Tucson? Because they had snow, 2 weeks before the race?
They did. They had snow. And, you looked at the weather. It was going to be a bit of a warmer weekend. Unfortunately, when you get away from downtown Tucson, the wind really picks up. I'm talking like maybe 10 to 20 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And we had wind all weekend long. It wasn't a consistent. Friday was consistent, just complete wind throughout the day, and made things, while it was sunny, was really cold and somewhat cloudy in certain times. Saturday got warmer and still had the wind coming in here and there. And then again, Sunday got warmer, but the wind came in at the end of the day and just really kind of made things a lot colder than what it was throughout the day. But I am 3 for 3 on rain. There were a couple raindrops that hit Friday. Nothing too serious, but I'm 3 for 3 on 2019 right now for rain.
I don't think you're going to be welcome to the WK race at Mooresville then.
Well, I already told you it's going to rain there, so
you know it's going to rain.
I'm going to be 4 for 4. Ocala in the weekend after that. I could have a 5 for 5 streak going.
You could go 5 for 5, no doubt. All right, let's look at numbers as well, David. 123 at Cal Speed for the opening round. You normally get the bigger numbers at the first race. Of course, a lot of rock stuff going on down in Southern California right now. Not so much in Arizona. Drops down to 96 total for the weekend in terms of total entries. Still higher than all of 2018. Any of the 2018s was that 96. So the momentum's still there, and there has been that jump forward for the program in 2019.
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do with there's really no local contingent. There was one local driver from the Tucson area racing during the weekend. Cal Speed, you get a lot of, as you said, you get a lot of locals there. Even guys from Northern California come down to Cal Speed, and not too many necessarily came over from over to Tucson. So that kind of factored in, not to mention, the SCUSA Pro Tour was the week before, but there were a lot of guys that were at SCUSA Pro Tour that came out and raced in Tucson. So that was good to see, guys going back to back on the weekends. Obviously, it's a lot for not only the teams and the drivers, but engine builders as well, too, going from, the IME power plants to the Rock.
Yeah. And then, of course, David, we're just, less than a month away from the finale, first weekend of April. That, again, then takes the series to Sonoma, where there is, again, a Rock Club program at Sim Raceway Performance Karting Center. So there's an opportunity to get the carryovers who are following the whole series, plus a bunch of regulars. They're probably going to have big numbers over top, maybe 110, potentially even 120. Again for the finale.
Yeah, not to mention guys from the Northwest coming down to get ready for their season. So it's a good, they're a little bit, the events seem to be a little bit closer together than they have typically in the past. But, I still see, over 100 drivers probably racing in Sonoma once again.
Pretty much across the board, guys. And you're looking at the actual entries, just a kind of a fall off in all the categories as opposed to one big one. Micro Rock was 7 down to 4. Remember, they only had one driver last year, so there's still 4 times what they had in 2018. Mini Rock dropped from 17 to 11. Junior Rock actually a big drop from 19 down to 10. Senior Rock actually went up. They went from 15 up to 16 drivers in the Senior Rock class, dropped a couple of Masters, still a good 15 kart field. Same with the Masters or the shifter categories. Senior Rock dropped 5 down to 16. The Master shifter guys, though, David, 14. Was it pretty much exactly the same 14, or was there?
It was a mixture of returning drivers and guys who were not at the opening round, such as Mike Jones and Ben Schermerhorn. I'm trying to think of a couple other guys that weren't there. So there was a good swap out of guys who weren't there to new guys.
Again, overall, you have to look at the fact that the series debuted the Rock program last year after many, many years of running the Rotax program, set the baseline last year. Big jump up here to start the 2019 program, and again, looking for good numbers when we get to Sonoma for the finale on April 5th, 6th, and 7th. Okay. There's David Cole with the overview. When we get back after this quick break, we'll do the paddock pass. Dave will give us some of the information of some of the stuff that happened, not so much on the track, but potentially off the track or with the track. So stick with us. More to come. Episode number 43 of the EKN Debrief here on the EKN Radio Network.
For over a century, Briggs & Stratton has had a commitment and passion for racing. It's a DNA found in every engine we build today. So whether you kart race, Baja, race quarter midgets, or believe that dirt and snow are just God's way of adding to the challenge, the dedicated spirit of every Briggs & Stratton employee stands at the fence waiting for the green flag to drop. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you?
The shift is on to a new brand and a new way of thinking. Mad Old Nut Racing and Croc Promotion USA are focused on changing the paradigm when it comes to race teams in this sport. And the goal is to support dedicated young racers by giving them the tools and opportunities to succeed. Originally born as Mad Croc, the new branding is Croc Promotion, and Armando Fellini's product continues its dedication to quality and innovation. Croc Promotion USA is the American importer and distributor, and Mad Old Nut Racing is the official race team. We're ready to attack in 2019, and our race results speak for themselves. AJ Myers swept the first 4 Winter Series shifter kart races of the year, and Andrew Bedozzo continues to assert himself as an emerging player. Croc Promotion has momentum. Dedicated and talented young drivers, supported and mentored by team owners who know business and who are passionate about karting. That's Croc Promotion USA. That's Mad Old Nut Racing. Search for us on social media and give us a follow.
Hey everyone, this is Chris Wheeler from Bell Helmets. Bell Racing USA is now the official helmet of Superkarts USA. You can find our newest line of products such as the Carbon KC7 CMR, the only carbon fiber built helmet approved with a CMR rating in the entire world during the 2019 season by visiting PSL Karting on site at all SCUSA events. Check us out online, www.bellracing.com, or on social media by following @BellRacingHQ.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. David Cole joining us as he will quarterback his review of the third and fourth rounds of the Challenge of the Americas from Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. The Paddock Pass is where we talk about some of the stuff that happened on the track within the community. We'll see. David's got a bunch of notes to give us. This edition of the Paddock Pass presented by Stilo USA. As a world leader in personal racing safety products, Simpson Performance Products is now the official North American distributor for Stilo helmets. In addition to their popular auto racing helmets, Stilo is excited to make their move into karting. Stilo has two helmets designed and manufactured specifically for karting, the ST5 CMR 2016 for kids, and the ST5 Kart Snell K 2015 for the adults. For more information, check them out at simpsonperformanceproducts.com/Stilo or by following them on social media at Stilo USA. All right, David, Paddock Pass. I know you got 4 or 5 notes down here from the stuff that happened. I always say that it's tough to do the Paddock Pass when you're at Tucson, because if you want to go from the booth where you're working to the paddock, it's like 3 stories and about 40 something feet to come down from the tower.
According to my phone, I did over 50 floors per day. So that's, however that relates to, how many flights of stairs I did.
Wow.
It's a lot. I actually probably did more stairs than I did actual walking throughout the weekend.
And it's a sketchy.
It's very narrow, very steep. I forgot Sean Beer's afraid of heights, so that's why I never saw him on the weekend until after we were all done with everything or out on the racetrack. So it was, so I got to go around a little bit on Friday, thus, why I had a lot of up and down on that day, but got to go around and see people. Again, obviously people were busy getting things tuned in for the weekend. One of the biggest issues we hit on the weekend was actually the scales. Saturday morning we got there and the scales were not working. So, something happened with the connection between the scale platform and the gauge that actually reads everything, displays everything, wasn't working. A couple of the track workers, along with Rock Cup USA's Garrett Potter, pulled out their electrical expertise and went to work. And luckily they had a backup gauge sitting there. So they kind of spliced the wires together because it was different fittings and tried to get the scales to work. They actually went and found some Longacre scales that somebody from the racetrack had. So they're going to use those as backup. Unfortunately, they got the scales, the original scales working. And so it only kind of delayed things for about 25 minutes to get that all situated before qualifying started.
Solid. So what else do we have for the Paddock Pass? Any other?
Typically we don't like to talk about bad things, but the last 3 main events on Sunday, something was going on with the scoring system. We couldn't quite figure it out. It wasn't picking up drivers as they went across the line. So basically Shelby Jocelyn was the Iron Woman and hand scored the final 3 races all by herself. Luckily, she's had expertise with that and obviously knows the drivers and was able to do that. And everything kind of, came together. Luckily, no craziness in any of the finishes to where we had to go back to, cell phone videos or anything like that. So,
yeah. Well, she is one of the best, if not the best. There's no doubt about that. There's a calmness when she's in there. Shelby Jocelyn's fantastic.
Luckily, we were able to, after the weekend, they sent the backups from Orbitz over to TJ Halsma from MyLaps, and he kind of deciphered that it's possibly something in the loop. So at least we know it's not the software, it's not the decoder, it's just, you never know about those loops. They're out in the weather all the time. Sure. And so something in the connection, or maybe the loop is just got a malfunction with it somewhere in the circuit.
We'll get that fixed up. Now, you mentioned that Garrett Potter was there. Obviously, Garrett racking up some frequent flyer miles. He's been doing the Florida Winter Tour. I've been at a couple of Andy's races as well as the Rock program continues to grow in certain areas. But yeah, good to see Garrett on hand.
Yeah, he was there kind of getting a relief from the two temporary circuits that they had to start out the Florida Winter Tour. He was really happy with how things unfolded. Obviously, Hard Rock Stadium was happy with how things went with the Rock Cup USA and Florida Winter Tour program. So he's not looking forward to any more temporary circuits in the near future. But, the planning is already underway for, obviously the Rock at the Rio coming up at the end of October, beginning of November. So that's the next temporary circuit. So he doesn't have to worry about barriers anymore until then. Obviously, they have the Florida Winter Tour finale coming up in Ocala, but also they're, kind of talking about the two festival races coming up. Obviously, the first in the new track in Biloxi, Mississippi. And then the second one to be announced very soon.
Yeah, I tried to draw it out of him when we did our podcast, about a month ago. Just wasn't able to do it, so it's still a TBA for the second Rock Festival this year. But yeah, I did what I could. Just he wasn't budging.
Yeah, it seems like the pieces are still kind of coming together with that. I heard rumors about where it might possibly be, but it seems like it might not be there. So it could be a whole completely different direction than where originally we thought it was going to be. So again, that information will be hopefully probably announced, before the finale at Ocala.
Well, David, of course, we'll be going into the race report after this next break. What else you got for me? I know you wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on with Ron White Racing. Ron's actually in there battling it out for the boys with Senior Shifter, right?
Oh yeah, Ron's in it full throttle. There's no doubt about it. Obviously, he's keeping busy every day with the Ron White Racing operation. He was just at Laguna Seca with a couple of his customers doing some road racing. He's always testing. He's always doing some driver coaching. So he's always keeping busy with that. And, CRG, he's always been a longtime CRG driver and dealer. And, CRG Nordam's returning that favor, and they're really supporting those drivers who are on CRGs and with Ron White Racing this year at the Challenge. With last month was you and Jeffrey there on hand. This month it actually was Tony Tesoro and Eddie Tonini who were there giving technical assistance.
It's interesting, David. It's 2019 now, and I want to say that Ronnie probably made his debut on the Scusa Pro Moto Tour. I think on a CRG. I think it was like around 2000 or 2001. I think that he ran with, and he actually ran for Extreme Karting. He ran for Kutcher's team. He's potentially almost a 20-year CRG guy. Well,
there was a time when he was on a different brand.
Yeah, no doubt.
But it wasn't that long. Yeah, but no. Overall, he's probably been one of the longest. Probably Matt Jaskell is one of them as well too. So those guys have been
1999 for Matt. You're right.
Yeah. And then again, Matt had some other rides that he's been on as well too. So. Yep.
It's just for me, it's to see the longevity of a guy like Ron White,
Darren Elliott,
for sure. Darren's true enough. But to see Ron still doing it, and still hammering down, and still running against the senior guys when he could be doing the master category, and he's in a good fight for the championship. I like it. It's good to see Tony and Eddie there too.
Yeah, it's that weight. He's still that driver size, so he hasn't. He's not the typical master size that we see these guys.
I don't think he's gained a pound in 20 years, though.
No,
right?
I think he's gotten a little bit heavier, but when I say little, I'm talking maybe 5 pounds.
Exactly. Yeah, not much. And again, David giving us the Paddock Pass. Thank you to the good folks from Stilo USA for being the presenting sponsor of our Paddock Pass. All right, another quick break. When we get back, David's going to jump in and start giving us essentially some reviews of the actual racing action. The first segment will hit Senior Rock, Shifter Senior Rock, Shifter Master Rock, and Master Rock as well. Stick with us. More to come. Episode 43 of the Debrief. It's the COTA, Challenge of the Americas event from Tucson. That's what we're dealing with here today. In racing, experience is priceless. Franklin Motorsports is a leader in the karting industry with over 50 years of combined karting experience. And we can provide you with everything you need to go racing. With a large online product selection, select track support events, and a wide variety of shop services, Franklin Motorsports is your complete karting source. Check out our online store at franklinkart.com, where all of our products are just a mouse click away and we ship daily. We're constantly adding new products to our online store, so keep checking back. We specialize in IAME engines, tilt seats, and of course, our championship-winning Merlin chassis. In our online store, you'll find molecule cleaning products, minus 273 racing gloves, micron gauges and components, and both MG and Bridgestone tires. If you're ready to take your racing to the next level, come and join us at Team FMS. We've been supplying racers with start-to-finish support at race events for many years, from providing a helping hand on a weekday test outing or at a club event, to full arrive and drive packages at the highest level of karting competition. For 2019, we'll be attending the SuperKarts USA Winter Series, WK Manufacturers Cup, United States Pro Kart Series, and the Route 66 Kart Racing Series. And we'd love to have you under our tent at Merlin Nation. For all things karting, visit franklinkart.com. Cometic Gasket is a leading worldwide supplier of gaskets and engine sealing solutions for karting, automotive performance, power sports, original equipment, and the remanufactured engine industries. Cometic karting gaskets are available as OE replacement top-end kits or as individual gaskets and seals. Just like competitive karters, Cometic can operate on the fly and has a unique capability to customize any gasket to meet specific engine requirements and clearances. All of Cometic's fiber materials are asbestos-free and do not require any additional sealants. Viton oil ring cylinder head seals are used in each 2-cycle kit, and Cometic's 4-cycle engine kits feature only the most advanced multi-layer steel head gaskets. Cometic can tailor to engine builder-specific needs through bulk ordering and packaging flexibility. Cometic gaskets are must-haves for championship-winning teams across multiple disciplines of both professional and amateur motorsports. Cometic Gasket, sealing championships since 1989.
This is Randy Kugler, voice of the Quincy Grand Prix. South Park will come alive June 8th and 9th with over 15,000 spectators and some of the best kart racers from all over the country. Great partners such as Margay Racing and Hoosier Tires make this a racing experience like no other. Karting legends Scott Pruitt, Terry Trader, and Randy and Rick Folks have some of their biggest racing accomplishments at this prestigious event. Race fans will be on their feet as the competitors will battle for the coveted Gussie Award, named after the event's founder, the late Gus Trader. This year's event will be more fan-friendly than ever, with Wi-Fi throughout the park, more vantage points to view the excitement, more concessions, and even a greater selection of merchandise and souvenirs. The place to be, June 8th and 9th, the Quincy Grand Prix. Karting's Formula One of street racing, where legends are made. Let's do it in the park this year. For more information, visit our website at quincygrandprix.com.
Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. David Cole providing us with a full review of the 2019 Challenge of the Americas event at Tucson, Arizona, rounds 3 and 4 of the 6-race series. Things kicking off at Cal Speed in February, and then April, of course, we'll move to Sonoma for the finale. Let's go to the race report, David, presented by VME Kart USA. Today's race report segment is brought to you by VME Kart USA, the company that is taking American karting by storm this year. VME Kart is winning on the East Coast and West Coast. The VME Kart chassis has a wide tuning window, and it works extremely well with all engine and tire platforms. To learn more about the chassis and their arrive and drive programs for all the big events, give them a follow on their social media programs. All right, DC, this is our second podcast of the week. I got another one planned for later on this afternoon. 3 planned for next week. We are busy on the EKN Radio Network, and I know you were busy all weekend long in Tucson, up and down the tower. Let's start with the senior rock category. At the very start, Dave, we talked about the fact that it actually gained a driver. It was 15 in Cal Speed, 16 drivers going at it in Tucson. Pretty, essentially one of the, if not the biggest field, I think, on the weekend, right?
Yeah, among the biggest fields, and was kind of a different per day. You know, you typically see the same guys up front both days, but this category was kind of a little bit shaken, especially early on when Friday, when we saw Wesley Boswell wearing a helmet instead of looking at his phone and looking at times for his drivers.
Where'd that come from?
So, Boswell has hooked up with Eddie Shimon, a young driver out of the NorCal area, as driver coaching him. And the dad wanted Wesley to give him some more, lead follow type situations on Friday. Well, if you're gonna do that on Friday, you got to enter the race. So they decided to use the backup cart and engine as the lead follow and do some more driver coaching. And by the time the end of the day came, Boswell was super quick. I mean, along with Eddie, those two were among the quickest Friday. And Boswell's like, you know what, I'm going to race. So he kept things going on and moved into Saturday. And Saturday just, happened to be at the right place at the right time in the pre-final. Started, I believe, 8th and found his way into the lead really early on. There was a little bit of a skirmish at the start. I think really the only start we had that had any type of issues. Again, Challenging Americas don't run pushback bumpers. So, it's up to the drivers to really decide things. And it's just, a racing incident, guys getting together and pushing out wide, as we typically see there with that turn 1 there. And Boswell took advantage, got up to the front, and then once he was on pole for the main event, just kind of walked away from everybody for the win.
Well, the talent's there. What was it, 2003 Super Nationals winner in the ICC class, the pro class?
I don't even think that Eddie Shimon, who he's wrenching with or who he's coaching, was even born then.
Probably not.
So I don't know if that means Boswell's old or if all the drivers are young. You can kind of determine that.
Take it the way you want.
Right. One driver that wasn't alive was Cooper Becklin, who actually was second place in the final. And then third place, I believe Jordan Renlund was born at that time, but the Canadian was able to get up to third on the VME.
Yeah, Jordan might have been 2 or 3.
Right. He was born just not walking or talking very much.
Or talking. Way to go, Boz.
Yeah.
But you know what? Again, just showing Boswell's talent, right? And that's why he's such a good driver coach. The skills are there. He's got the racecraft. You put him behind the wheel, and he's going to be fast. So good on Wesley. How about Sunday? You mentioned that things kind of flip flopped around a bit. What was the big change for Sunday that maybe changed the faces at the front of the pack?
I don't know if anything really changed. I think just people found some speed overnight. One of them being defending champion Jim McKinney. We know he going into the event, we thought he'd be towards the front throughout the weekend. Just didn't quite have, was involved in that turn 1 issue on Saturday. So he was able to qualify on pole Sunday. So that kind of helped him keep things clean. But he was beaten in the pre-final by Jake Drew, who was actually sick on Saturday, had temperatures in the 100 to 103 area, 104. So after he got some medication and relaxed, he came back Saturday, but obviously wasn't quite himself. Sunday came back feeling a little bit better and was able to qualify towards the front and beat McKinney out for the pre-final win. But again, those long races that we have at the challenge, things kind of shook up when Cooper Becklin just kind of had the consistent speed over the long term of the race and was able to get by both of those guys and drive away to the victory.
How cool is it to see Cooper Becklin win a race here in the senior category, having watched him come from the mini category to junior all the way up through? That's just the progression through the entire challenge has been pretty impressive for the kid out of the Pacific Northwest.
Well, that's typically what we see in this challenge now, being the 7th or 8th year we've been there. We've seen these kids start out in the mini category and slowly work their way, like a Christian Brooks, even a Jim McKinney. Yeah. He was once a junior driver as well too. And Becklin to win 2 races now in his senior debut in 4 rounds is pretty stout and definitely puts him in the championship lead now with 2 wins. McKinney's there sitting second, 48 points back with Jake Drew sitting third.
So I just looking at your notes here right now, you mentioned that Jordan Redlin in the fight on Sunday as well. What happened to Jordan?
Yeah, Jordan was, again, making his way up and was near a podium finish. Just got past Jim McKinney for third until a mechanical issue took him out with 2 laps to go.
Let's move to the senior shifter category, Dave. 16 drivers there as well. And you look at some of the names, too. We got some pretty solid names in this category in senior shifter.
We do, but really the weekend was all GFC. The new kart by Gary Carlton was the star with 2 drivers really showing what it had. in Hunter Pickett and Coy Bailey. Obviously, Bailey, a longtime Challenging America's competitor. Hunter Pickett, among one of the top shifter drivers that we do have in the North America.
Yep.
Pickett was a star, though. He was able to win both races on the weekend. Saturday, it was Bailey who got the whole shot in the pre-final, so he was able to take that win. But Pickett returned that favor in the final and just drove away to the win. Ron White actually came back and broke up the two, so he was able to finish second on Saturday. Sunday was a little bit of a different story, as White was able to lay down a quick lap in qualifying to steal the pole position there. But unfortunately, mechanical issues took him out early in the pre-final. That allowed Pickett to come through and score the pre-final win, and then Pickett once again with a great hole shot got away from everybody. But the story of the main event on that day was White coming back from the tail of the field all the way through, starting 14th, was top 6 after lap, maybe turn 3, and just drove his way right up in the second spot, working past Bailey for the runner-up spot.
That's the thing I love about that racetrack, right? You go into that turn 4, I guess it's like, one's the big first corner, then there's the 2, 3, and then 4 is the big sweeping left-hander. And you can run the outside of the sweeping left-hander, or you can dive down the inside and just park it, right? There's so many opportunities. I would love to have seen Ronnie jump his way up that quickly in the opening laps. Overall, though, David, was it some pretty good racing in the shifter class?
Well, yeah, everything behind Pickett was good racing. A little bit of contact here and there with some guys. I know Brian Keck came in leading as a championship contender. He DNF'd, I think, on Sunday due to contact. Saturday also had some issues as well. So that's kind of taken him out of the championship fight, moving White actually up into the top spot with Zach Pedanici second, and Campbell.
Jason Campbell?
Nope, wrong Campbell. I don't know why I have Campbell there, but we'll fix that.
Don't worry about it. All right, let's look at Master Shifter, because they've the challenge. You look at the amount of guys they have. They're talking 30 drivers just in the shifter class. That's 33% of the field, essentially, a little under 30% of the people in the paddock that weekend, all on the shifters. They've done a good job developing a good shifter program.
They have. And just to let you know, it was Prescott Campbell. I knew it was Campbell. I just couldn't even think about it, because again, the results from Cal Speed are completely different from what we saw in Tucson. So this championship, there's guys, within 100 points, 105 points of the top 7, including Pickett, Coy Bailey, Brian Keck, Enzo Privos, Prescott Campbell. All these guys are going to be racing in Sonoma, so that's going to be a great one to watch. Sorry.
No doubt. No, and yeah, you probably should remember Prescott. He's been really good out of the box recently, and was strong at the SCUSA race too. So indeed, he's third in points. All right, let's go to Master Shifter. You've fixed yourself up.
Yeah. So getting back to that, as we saw a little bit in Cal Speed, it was kind of the Rod Clenard show. The Texan has jumped over to Challenge the Americas for the first time and has really adapted to the Rock engine platform. We're seeing a lot of Masters guys come out for this category, but he was just on rails all weekend long. He swept Saturday, was able to hold off Victor Jimenez, who you've seen down in Florida a number of times. Victor came out with Mike Beanie and to challenge all these Masters drivers in the shifter category, and just came up short. Was right there, had Clenard looking over his shoulder nearly every lap, and just kind of came up short. Didn't quite have enough to get by him. And then again, as we talked about in the paddock pass, Mike Jones making his 2019 debut and ending up on the podium in third on Sunday or on Saturday.
Very nice, former Super Nationals winner. Good lineup of drivers though, but man, give it up for Rod Clenard, right? A couple of years back to back, winning a number plate in the SCUSA Pro Tour. And then just coming out of the gate strong here in 2019, momentum, right, Dave? Confidence and momentum, and it's working for him. That's impressive.
Well, he's been among the top Masters shifter drivers or throughout the last, 3 years, I think now. He's carried the number 3 plate in Supermaster. Yep. So, there's no doubt about he's got the talent. But he was nipped on Sunday. Victor Jimenez was able to grab fast time in qualifying, so it kind of broke up the perfect streak or perfect weekend for Clenard, but Clenard was able to strike back in the pre-final, grabbing that victory, and then once again driving away to the victory in the final. But this time it was Mike Jones who he was looking over his shoulder for. Jones came on really strong in the main event, and came in within a couple kart lengths of Clenard there at the end, but just didn't quite have enough to work by him. And then Ben Schermerhorn kind of did what Ron White did, had a DNF in the pre-final, and drove his way up from 14th to finish third in his 2019 debut.
Yeah, Dave, when you're qualifying on pole and you're winning pre-finals and main events, that's when you start piling up the points, right? Big lead right now for Rod Clenard in the championship heading to the finale.
Yeah, he's got a 127-point advantage over Nick Firestone, who actually was Friday's fast driver. Firestone just wasn't able to capitalize on the rest of the weekend, but he still finds himself in the championship chase with last year's champion Calvin Chen sitting there in third.
All right, let's move. Let's stick with Masters. Let's go to Masters Rock because I just look at some of your notes here and I'm seeing all these Team USA drivers and just a lot of talent, right? Derek Wang, Billy Cleveland, DeGraff, Jackson. There's just a lot of great drivers in this field for the Masters guys. Even though they had 14, still 14 drivers in Masters.
Yeah, it was it was great to see the field. You obviously have somebody to race with. Steve Weiner, who we keep talking about, was there, and he was racing with guys. So, no matter what the level you're at, you're racing either towards the lead or mid pack or a little bit at the back. You got guys to race with, so it's always great class to watch. But Saturday was all Billy Cleveland as he swept the day. Setting fast time in qualifying, winning the pre-final, and then once again leading the way in the final with Derek Wang, who, again, this is his first year racing Masters at the Challenge. Typically, we see him racing senior. So Wang is moved into the Masters category and mixing it up with these guys, and then Nick DeGraff finishing third on Saturday.
Okay, so again, we look forward to Sunday here, and DeGraff steps things up in the main. But what happened to Billy Cleveland? I'm looking at the notes here, and what happened to Billy Cleveland on Sunday?
He was there. It was basically Sunday was, as you saw on the video that we had for the pre-final. Cleveland was right there racing for the win, like you talked about those last two corners. Great opportunity to get by somebody on the last lap, and Wang actually did that to Cleveland. So Cleveland was actually second in the pre-final, right. led in the main event along with Wang, and it was basically a four driver fight with Derek, with Billy, with defending champion Eric Jackson, and then you throw in Nick DeGraff. Well, DeGraff, it just seemed to be he had the quickest kart out on the racetrack, and actually proved it by working by all these guys and getting out to the victory on Sunday. Jackson slid by Wang for the second spot, so made it a VME 1-2 finish on Sunday. And then again, like I said, Cleveland was actually fifth as Tim Mayer was able to close up in those late laps. He trailed that lead group for forever, and then as they diced it out there in those final laps, was able to catch up to and get by Cleveland there at the end for fourth.
Whew. All right, elbows are up. Now, in looking at the results, and man, it seems like the championship's pretty tight going into the finale for this category.
It is, because you got to remember the things were a little bit different at Cal Speed. Cleveland came out and won one of the races, but and then retired or actually didn't even show up for the rain race on Sunday. So that has him actually fourth, 61 points out. Tim Mayer's 94 points out in fifth, but really the top three guys are separated by just 32 points, with Wang, who has yet to win a main event, but stood on the podium all four rounds, leading the way, with Jackson sitting there just 6 points back in second, and then Nick DeGraff there third.
And so Cleveland, then, if you look at that, him not running the rain race, that's his drop. Then he's going to have essentially 2 wins and a fifth going in too.
Yeah,
so
and not to mention he's going to Sonoma, where he's had multiple victories already. So it's. But again, Eric Jackson's fast there. Derek Wang is fast there. Nick DeGraff was fast there last year. David Pregande, that's his track. Soft Shell loves that place. So, and then not to mention the local guys that are going to come out. Who knows? Maybe we'll see a Donald Durbin come out or somebody like that, from the area.
Sounds like you just dropped the gauntlet on Don Durbin.
We'll see. Maybe a Carlos Calderon, all those NorCal guys.
Yeah.
All right, bring them all out. They could easily have a 25 cart field there.
Well, we're looking for an all skate, folks. Everybody get out and have some fun for sure. That's it for the first segment of the Race Report presented by VME Kart USA. After this break, Dave's going to come back. He's going to give us the Junior Rock update. We'll talk about Senior and Masters 100cc, Mini Rock, and Micro Rock to cap off this edition of the Debrief. Stick with us, folks. More to come on the EKN Radio Network.
You probably know Nitro Kart for making a class-leading cadet chassis, the kart that swept the 2018 SCUSA Supernats cadet divisions and has won scores of races and championships all over the country. But did you know that Nitro Kart offers a full range of karts, including a kid kart and a brand new full-size chassis? Now racers of all ages can enjoy the Nitro Kart advantage of premium components, superior performance, and a wide range of tunable handling. All 2019 Nitro Karts are in stock now, so call Nick Tucker at 704-818-7868 and order yours today.
Hi, I'm Ashley Harrow, a multi-time international champion, but most kids know me as Coach. Under the tent, we aren't just friends. Everyone grows to become family. It all breaks down to two simple choices. You can either spend your time winning with us, or spend your time trying to beat us.
Nitro Kart! Race one or chase one!
Hi, EKN listeners. This is Jeff Wessel from Streeter Superstands. When it comes to lifts and stands for your karts and the largest selection of shop and trailer accessories, we know all about building and giving you the best. The Streeter Superstands crew has over 30 years of experience, are kart racers just like you, and know that the Streeter name stands for durability, affordability, and most of all, quality. We're the original and genuine manufacturer of Bigfoots and stacker stands, and we build them right here in the USA, along with our best-selling Streeter Superlift, upright stands, and an ever-growing roster of shop and trailer accessories to outfit any trailer or garage. While some guys pretend to be number one, we prove it every day, every race. Racers demand the best, and Streeter Superstand builds it. Check us out at StreeterSuperstands.com. When it comes to the best in lifts, stands, shop and trailer accessories, and all the cool necessities to make your race day easy and organized, it's all at StreeterSuperstands.com. We innovate, not imitate. Roll with the best right now at StreeterSuperstands.com.
In a sport where the difference between winning and losing is measured in hundredths of a second, you can't afford to leave anything on the table. You invest in the best equipment, the lightest components, and top-of-the-line data acquisition systems. Anything to find one more tenth, right? I'll tell you right now, the best investment you could ever make is in yourself. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the new state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy uses the very best equipment, Burrell Art Karts. They offer half-day, 1-day, 2-day, and 3-day clinics. They have a one-on-one student-to-instructor ratio, and they will design a customized curriculum for each student. Alan Rudolph is one of the most respected people in the sport, and he has nearly 20 years' experience training drivers, including Chase Elliott, Neil Alberico, Austin Versteeg, and Sabre Cook, and rising stars like Pietro Fittipaldi. Train with a champion with almost 30 years of racing experience to get proven results. Start off your season with a driver tune-up. Tune up your season with some driver coaching. Or get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-RACE. That's 866-607-7223. For more information, visit speedsportsracingpark.com/racing-academy. Welcome back to the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden. David Cole with us as we work through episode number 43 of the EKN Debrief. It's March the 15th. It's Friday afternoon. Looking forward to an exciting weekend. A lot of things going on. Sebring's going on. F1's getting started. So if you're a race fan, there's a lot going on. There's some karting going on for sure as well. But again, let's get back into it. David giving us his review of the third and fourth rounds of the Challenge of the Americas from Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. Again, the race report today brought to you by VME Kart USA. David, 4 categories still to wrap up. Let's jump in on Junior Rock. Not the numbers I think that we wanted. Obviously, they had 19 at the opening round, just down to 10 this weekend, but still some solid drivers in the field.
Yeah, solid racing all weekend long. But typically, 4 drivers kind of broke away throughout the weekend. But where we saw actually 2 drivers pick up their first challenge victories. Saturday, it ended up being Macy Williams, who was able to put in a solid last lap pass on Ethan Ho to secure the victory in that day. Man. On that day, amazing pass. Just timed it right. Found Ho decided to try the defensive line and left just enough gap going into that right hander at turn 5 to slide in and grab the lead and then hold on to checkered flag for her first series victory. So that put Ho in second, and then William Ferguson third. Sunday, Liam Lech was actually the driver to beat throughout the day, setting fast time in qualifying and winning the pre-final. But Ethan Ho was just a little bit better than the rest of them, was able to get out to the lead and then walk away to his first series victory. Lech ended up finishing second with Ferguson crossing the line in third. So that actually gives Ho and Ferguson 4 podiums in the 4 rounds that we've had thus far. And the category has seen 4 different winners on the season with Jonathan Ports, Ferguson, Williams, and Ho all scoring victories.
You know what? Ethan Ho is on a bit of a roll to start the season off, is he not?
He is. He's got those KA100 wins at the Pro Tour just the weekend before that, and then finally getting that first challenge victory that he's been trying for over the last 3 years probably.
Man, he's just definitely on a roll. And again, as we said already, confidence and momentum. Once you have those two, you believe in yourself, believe in your program, you can start really running up front. Dave, let's have a look at the points. You mentioned that they've got 4 different drivers of one: Ports, Ferguson, Williams, and Ho. Seems like the championship chase pretty tight as well.
Yeah, for sure. It's top 4 within 77 points after the weekend. Macy Williams sitting there in 4th. Lech is there in 3rd, 70 points back. So if he's able to score a victory, that could shake things up. But right now it's Ethan Ho at the front with Ferguson back by 31 points.
Let's move into the Masters and Senior 100cc class, just a single driver in the Masters class. But again, the 100cc program, David, kind of just taking route everywhere, whether it's the VLR, Rock VLR. I know that they run the K100 as well in the program here in the Challenge of the Americas. 9 drivers in Senior 100cc. And not surprised to see some of the names that we saw there, because some of them are kind of veterans of COTA, and some guys just kind of come in for one-offs here and there.
Yeah, it's that category is great. It provides great racing, and as you said, some guys that have been with the series for a while, whether it's through the junior program or even the Masters, he's slumming down back to the senior category with Adam Kasich picking up a second victory on the year in the senior category, not Masters, because remember he ran Masters Rock last year in Phoenix, winning both rounds, and then decided to take a break from racing. But Adam's back. He loves the 100cc package, and it really shows when he's on track, as he was able to beat out Everest Fedler and Colby Dubato for the victory on Saturday.
Solid. Good. I always love seeing a guy that can be running Masters coming back running senior. I think that's a cool deal, getting in there and battling it with some of the young guys. So Kasich with the win in the opening day. What about day number 2? Was he able to come back with the same speed, or it seems like the trend has been that in listening to your report, that a lot of guys weren't able to come back and kind of be exactly as good as they were the day before?
Well, as I said, guys were able to find a little bit more speed on the next day. With it, the temperature was really the only change that we saw in the weather. So it's not like we went from rain to dry.
Yeah.
But I think guys were just able to do their homework, because again, some people have not been to this track before. So I think you saw a lot of that, and especially with Colby Dubato, he was able to find a lot of speed overnight in the 100cc category as he swept the day in senior 100cc. It was actually a fight. He had Logan Calderwood on his bumper throughout the race. Calderwood actually won the pre-final, but a penalty took the win away from him. So they were the top 2 all day long. And Dubato was just able to stretch out just a little bit of a lead over the young Calderwood and score his first victory of the year, and actually his 4th straight podium in the category.
talk a little bit about the way the things are kind of settling in. Dubato's on a bit of a run. He's had 4 good finishes. Kasik's been fast though. It's interesting to see how things are going to dial in depending on the consistency shown by the drivers.
Yeah, Kasich was there. It was a fight between his two teammates with Jackson Dunn and Fedler at the finish, and Kasich got the short end of the stick, jumped the curb, and lost the chain as they were coming to the checkered flag. So he went from 3rd to 5th, coasting across the line, but still finds himself leading the championship chase over Dubato by 28 points. And then Jackson Dunn, who won at Cal Speed, sitting there in 3rd, 87 points out.
Jimmy Gregory, the solo driver of the Masters category, getting quicker and quicker, getting down there and battling out with the guys. So good to see Jimmy down there having some fun. That's what it's all about. Get to the racetrack, get out of the cold from up north in Canada, and have some fun down in either California or Arizona. David, let's move on into the Mini Rock category. 11 drivers in the field for Mini Rock. Give us a feeling of how that racing kind of unfolded.
Well, throughout the weekend, it was really the 2 drivers out front with Logan Toke and Enzo Deligny. Now, do you say Deligny or?
I think it's Delaney.
Delaney. See, I say it how I spell it. But yeah, I think it's because Eric Brennan, who was there announcing on the weekend, kept saying Delaney. So
I think it's Delaney. I think they corrected me. It's Delaney. It's not Deligny.
Well, I figured I'd check with you first, so I'll go Delaney. Yeah. All right.
I got corrected at the winter series, so we got that right now.
Yeah. So Toke and Delaney.
Hey, listen, hold on. We got to get it right because the way Enzo's driving this year, I think we're going to be talking about him a lot. So let's make sure
we've talked about him pretty much every race we've gone to. So
I know. I think
that's true. That's a true statement. But but actually Saturday it was Logan Toke. Toke was able to sweep the day with Enzo right there on his bumper. They kind of went at it in the final, but Toke was able to get the advantage there at the line. And then Anthony White was sitting there in 3rd with another great drive in his mini rookie season so far.
Cool.
Sunday, same thing. Toke and Delaney were out front. Toke got fast time in qualifying. Delaney won the pre-final. But again, Delaney just found a little bit of extra speed, and Toke wasn't quite up to pace in the final. So Delaney just walked away solo for the victory. The fight was for 2nd, and it ended up being White coming up from the tail of the field after a DNF in the pre-final. He kind of matched what his uncle did in the shifter category, coming from last up to 2nd, stealing that spot. And then Ian Q, I believe is how you say his name, who's working with Choker out of Canada, scoring his first podium result at the Challenge in the Americas.
Good for him. Now, David, 4 straight podiums for Enzo Delaney. That's what you got to do if you want to win one of these championships. It's 6 weekends, right? there are 3 weekends, 6 races, 1 drop. You just really can't afford to have a bad weekend. If you do, puts the pressure on you for the rest of the program. Enzo Delaney, when you get 4 straight podiums, you know you're going to be in the fight when you get to the finale.
Yeah, Toke had the same type of streak going until he fell back there in the main event on Sunday. Yeah. So he's only sitting 20 points back from Delaney. So again, those 2 are going to be the measure in Sonoma. But again, White sitting there in 3rd at 81 points, going to his home track. Again, when you're at the Challenge, you never know what's going to happen. So things could unravel for the top 2, and White could be there, or he could just be the rock in somebody's shoe.
Oh, there it is. 4 drivers in the micro rock category, the youngest drivers as part of the Challenge of the Americas. They had 1 competitor last year, had a nice jump to 7 at the opening round at Cal Speed, only 4 this particular weekend, but at least there was 4. Last year was Gage Jarvis by himself, didn't get a chance to race with anybody. This time Jarvis getting a chance to race with some guys. Give us a little indication of how the racing actually did unfold.
Yeah, and they all seem pretty even too. For the most part, obviously when you look at the results, it's Filippo Sala scoring nearly all the P1 positions throughout the weekend. Saturday was a sweep for him, but again, it was kind of close with all 4 together. Zachary Woolward was 2nd, with Gage coming in 3rd. So it was a good tight battle for them. Again, on Sunday, this time Woolrod was able to set fast time in qualifying, but Sala was a little bit quicker than everybody in the pre-final and final. So Sala took the wins in both. So he scores 4 straight on the year. Jarvis was actually 2nd on Sunday and was really close with Sala. Came in with like a couple tenths off at the checkered flag, but a penalty for jumping the start dropped him off the podium. So that moved Sydney Castles up to second for her first podium, and then moved Zachary Walrod up to third.
So Silo will take the point lead into the finale. Walrod second, Castles third. David, I appreciate it. There's a review. All in all, you enjoyed the weekend?
Oh, again, yeah. I always enjoy the Challenge of America's weekends. It was my last one of the year, obviously. But I love going west. It's kind of my West Coast family. Always like to think about that. And great, going to Tucson took us back to when it all began, when we first went to the Challenge of the Americas in 2012. It feels like home when you go there and you hang out with all the same crew and all the race teams that make the challenge so great.
Yeah, as you said, we've got a another one of our conflicts where you're going to have to be in Ocala, Florida for the United States Pro Kart Series opener in April. I'll be making the trek out to the Challenge of the Americas. I'm actually going to be David Cole. I think Chappie will be on the mic, and I might help him out a little bit, but Chappie's on the mic, and I'll be handling the coverage all weekend long. So looking forward to it. So that means I will quarterback the debrief, and we wrap up the season, the Challenge of the Americas season, probably about I'm going to say an April the 9th or 10th recording for that debrief. But otherwise, we're done for the debrief. Now it's time to talk about where we're going to be over the next couple of weeks. Those of you who have tuned into our EKN Trackside Live program, of course, I think 25 races on the docket for us here this year. As we look at the race calendar, this is presented by Comet Kart Sales. History, success, family. These are three words that describe Comet Kart Sales, one of the longest tenured karting businesses in the United States. The family-owned operation is located just outside Indianapolis and has provided karts, parts, and services for thousands of racers in the near 6 decades of business. Their online store features everything you need, and they are continually adding new parts to their product line. Make sure you head to CometKartSales.com or call them at 317-462-3413 to be part of the Comet Kart Sales family today. All right, David, we got 4 events that we're talking about here right now. We get a weekend off. This weekend's off. Actually, you get next weekend off, too. I don't. I'm off to the Circuit of the Americas for the IndyCar race and the Road to Indy. So you have a couple weekends off to be with the family. And luckily, you're not shoveling any more snow because I think you're done with that.
It's going to snow tonight.
Mark, is it really? Don't say that.
Not to where I got to probably shovel, but it is going to snow.
Dude, you did a lot of shoveling this year.
Yeah, thankfully we had 60-degree weather yesterday and rain, so it's pretty much melted now. So that's good.
Folks, as you know, the head office here for EKN is in Cambridge, Ontario. David's down in Grand Rapids. And so many times, David and I, of course, we stay in contact all day long. We're always working back and forth, bouncing things off each other, talking about what we're doing with the social media posts, that kind of thing. And throughout the off season, poor David, I got to go outside and shovel. You probably shoveled at least 2 or 3 times a day at one point when it was getting bad there.
Yeah, we had that run 1 week where it was I had to shovel twice a day at least. So do it at lunch and then do it again when the kids go to bed. So yeah, you have plenty of time to hang out with the fam and still get the work done.
Isn't it time to move to North Carolina pretty soon?
We keep talking about it. I just actually was talking with a friend that they keep looking at moving to Florida even. So it's like.
Wow.
But it could be in the next 2 or 3 years. We'll see.
There you go. All right, folks. Again, so March 29, 30, 31. That's will be the next time that EKN Trackside Live program gets fired up. David Cole and I were laughing in the last podcast, David. It's the hashtag dual weekend double-double. Back-to-back weekends where David and I are going to be at different races. We're going to cover 4 races over 2 weekends. And of course, we have the EKN 1 and EKN 2 live pages. There's 2 different live pages now, so you'll be able to get the link to wherever you're listening. The first weekend, I'm going to be in Texas for the opening round of the Pro Kart Challenge. I'm heading out to Denton to NTK Kartways. Love being at Denton. Hopefully get behind the wheel and do some practice a little bit on Friday or Saturday morning if I can. David, that weekend, you're actually going to be at GoPro. Speaking of North Carolina, you're going to be in Mooresville for the second round of the WK Manufacturers Cup?
I will be. Yeah, and again, I think it's going to rain that weekend, so I'm already guaranteeing rain. Whether it be one day or all 3 days, I really don't. It doesn't matter anymore because it's just going to happen. But it'll be good to do.
You resign yourself to it. Wow.
You might as well, right? If something's going to happen to you that you figure is going to happen, you might as well welcome it, right? It's like,
Yes.
when I drink a
Yes.
Coke, I know I'm going to keep that weight on. I'm not going to lose it. So
That's funny. So again, part of the dual weekend double-double. The following weekend, April 5th, 6th, and 7th. So again, David, Cole, and I are home for two or 3 days. Dave sees the family. I'll pack up the suitcase, see Alicia, and head out of here. Challenge of the Americas. I'm heading west, as we said. I'll be there to do all our EKN Trackside live coverage, the race reports, the broadcast for the finale of the program at Sonoma. Love being to Sonoma. Look forward to seeing all the crew there, as well as David said. Just kind of our West Coast family. Great people involved in the Challenge of the Americas.
And don't act like you're not going to get good food when you go out there either.
Oh, dude, Angelo's. I'm sure Beer and I are gonna go to the Thai place with Angel
Chad
Mott and
Wallace,
everybody. Dude, Chad will be. Yeah, Chad's coming, so we'll go to the Thai place again. It's people must think that we're just crazy. It's like, there's a race. No, there's some food. Yes, there's races. Excited for the racing, but it's got to be something happens after 7 o'clock.
We're typically on food tours. We just happen to stop by where races are happening, right?
That's exactly it. So part of that double dual weekend, while I'm at Sonoma, David will be in Ocala, Florida, for the opening round of the United States Pro Kart Series. David, 3-race series, Mark Coates and the crew. That should be some pretty good racing. There always is really solid racing in the USPKS.
Yeah, it's being in Ocala for the second straight year to open up the season. I think we're going to see a lot of big numbers down there in April. A lot of momentum moving forward. Again, only 3-race series program, I think, has been the key to their growth over the last year. You add in the Masters category, I think we're going to see, anywhere between 15 to 20 Masters again in that category.
Agreed. Agreed.
The K100 program, you got senior and junior going again, along with the X30 categories, and of course mini and micro. And it's just kind of a win-win category or program that they've put together, starting its 6th season, right? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, 7th season. Sorry, 17. 7th season. So, it's everything's come together for them, for Mark and his program and his people. Again, with Rick Jump and the whole staff that they have there, putting everything. Everybody knows what everybody's supposed to do, and it's always great to just kind of walk into a program that does that.
So there you go, folks, for the EKN Trackside Live race calendar. We're hitting 4 different organizations over 2 weekends. Again, I'll be there with the Texas Pro Kart Challenge, as I said, the SuperKarts USA program. They're adding in the Briggs classes as well, I believe, to the program here to start the season. WK Manufacturers Cup, Challenge of the Americas, and the United States Pro Kart Series. All right, David, I'll leave this to you. Let's wrap this things up. As we do normally in our debriefs, let's talk a bit about in the wrap-up about the Constructors' Championship breakdown. 12 different brands, again, winning. There's a lot of different teams, a lot of different brands that are winning races in these national programs.
There are. I think this is, I think we've seen double-digit brands winning at every event this year. So that shows a lot to the diversity of our sport right now, with the number of different brands that are successful so far in 2019. On the weekend, though, it was Viemi Kart, obviously with Filippo Sala picking up 2. It only needed 1 more and got it from Nick DeGraff and Masters to lead the way with 3 wins on the weekend. Of course, Tony Kart right there with 2 wins, along with CRG. The GFC chassis winning its first 2 of the year, I believe. And then K&K with 2 wins with Jimmy Gregory.
Number of teams, 7 different manufacturers with 1 win: Burrell Arts, Cosmic, FA, Red Speed, Comp Kart, Ricardo, and Top Kart, all scoring 1 win as well. David, again, we'll cap this off, as we said, in our EKN Trackside Live race calendar. Series finale for the Challenge of the Americas here in 2019, the second year in the Rock Cup program. Sim Raceway Performance Karting Center, as Andy Saisman always likes to say, probably the prettiest view of a racetrack anywhere in the country as it looks out over the bay. Just a beautiful racetrack. Great to be there. April 5th, 6th, and 7th, the 9th time in 12 years for the series to head to the facility, 6th straight year having the finale there. And David, based on your notes, I didn't know this yet, but you're telling me that we're going to run the national layout clockwise direction.
Yeah, you don't want to remember the last time that they ran this direction in 2015, do you, Rob?
Why do you say that?
Well, it just happened to be the same weekend that I like actually burned you twice in a go-kart.
You did burn me twice. You were about a 200ths of a second faster on the Rotax and a couple of tenths quicker in the Briggs. Yeah, you had me handled.
Oh yeah. The Ignite kart there that they had was phenomenal on rails. You know, the Burrell kart that Andy Staisman was able to put together for us. You know, going back to back set, you know, in the same session to see who was the quickest. You know, I got the tires warmed up for you, and
I had you sweating though.
I
needed one more lap.
I think you blew it all in that one lap.
I needed one more lap, but my body didn't have one more lap. I was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You blew it all. The card had it. The card, of course, had it. You just didn't have it, which is great to hear. I love this. I love this weekend. I'll never forget this weekend. It was a great weekend.
Well, if you beating me in a back-to-back practice session is what you're going to hang your world on, I can live with that, Dave.
I'm not hanging my world on it. I'm just saying I'm always going to burn you about this weekend.
You will. I can go back to Rock Island, though, that's for sure.
Again, I was quicker than you there.
Doesn't matter. Nobody cares if you're quicker. I qualified better than you, and I outran you.
If you don't win, you got to kind of go by who had the fastest lap.
Were you in the top 10?
But you didn't win.
Were you in the top 10?
You didn't win. You were...
So when they put the results down, it's like, here's the top 10, and then there's other.
I was 11th. This one goes to 11.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm looking forward to us getting behind the wheel this year. I didn't, again, for the first time in 20 years, almost 25 years, I didn't race one race last year. I did a couple indoor deals, but I didn't race one outdoor race last year, and that was just wrong. I was too busy. Didn't happen. Potentially 4 or 5 weekends this year. Of course, you and I are going to have some fun at the Battle at the Brickyard. Really looking forward to that one. And we're also going to be racing for sure at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals, first weekend of October at Newcastle. You'll be back behind the wheel at Rock Island again, chasing that rock that you seem to leave out on the racetrack every year. And I may run the Canadian Nationals. We'll see. Dude, David, listen, I haven't been at the Rock for so many years, the Rock Island race for so many years because of it, because of my IndyCar and Road to Indy commitments. And every year I watch you on Race Monitor, just hoping you're going to win, cheering you on to win. And you come so close. You know, last year wasn't my fault. I got spun, or the year before that, I got spun. So this year I was just kind of out to lunch. I wasn't there mentally prepared for it. And, moving into the actual regular Masters category is a lot different than the Ignite program. And it just kind of caught me off guard. So, funny when I ran the regular Ignite program, our regular Masters program, I qualified second to Tony Nilsson, multi-time winner.
It was the first year, of course.
Yeah, still all the big bad guns there.
Well, no, those guys are a lot better now than what they were then. A lot better.
Oh, really?
Even really? Tony will tell you that too. He's still getting better as he gets older.
He's still the badass Tony Nilsson. Damn it. I was so excited that I was going to maybe try to win a rock, and no, Nilsson shows up and enters the class.
See, so you've only had one time where you actually thought you could win a rock. I've gone every year thinking I can win a rock. So
yeah, well, that might have been your error right there.
Last year it was, that's for sure.
Anyways, we look forward to having some good times. Again, back to Challenge of the Americans finale, April 5th, 6th, and 7th, part of our dual weekend double-double. Remember, on eKarting News now, folks, we have the EKN 1 and EKN 2, or Live 1 and Live 2. So we have a couple different live channels just in case we're doing these double weekends. I think we have 3, maybe. It's only 3 this year, right, David? I think that's the only.
I think, yeah, these will be
later.
The last 2.
Yeah.
Everything, I think, falls in line to where we're not double-double.
There you go. Well, folks, that does cap things off in this edition of the EKN Debrief. It's episode number 43 of our review podcast. Again, David Cole giving us a really good look at what happened just a week ago at the Challenge of the Americas race, the 3rd and 4th rounds at the Musselman Honda Circuit in Tucson, Arizona. Great racing on track and great camaraderie and atmosphere off track as well. Of course, with the dual weekend double-double, we've got 4 debrief podcasts coming at the end of the month and the start of April. You're going to enjoy those. But otherwise, if you have not yet downloaded the EKN Radio Network app, get that done, folks. Great opportunity to listen to all our content on the EKN Radio Network, the only 24/7, 365 radio network, all karting, all day. It's the only one in the sport, folks. Download the app, karting anytime you want. We're done here. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.